I'm back again, another live. Well, we're doing a reenaction video, and today we're gonna do this is from another YouTube channel called Africa Unrevealed. I like this channel. I like how he probably use AI to kind of like do his background videos, but he do commentary to the videos and clips that he posted. So I appreciate how he does this. Shout out to that guy. I'm actually trying to learn to do some AI clips myself. But like, subscribe. Let me know how you guys like the video. But we're gonna do a little reaction to what he does and the things that he's saying. I did watch some of the video already, but I'm gonna do my own little reaction and commentary. I'll give my opinions on some of the things he's saying. So let's move forward.
Your skin isn't a blessing. It's a burden, not a golden gift.
Let's run it
But
back from the
from the
top.
moment you take your first breath, your skin isn't a blessing. It's a burden, not a golden gift, but an automatic sentence. You don't get to choose it. And what you inherit isn't just melanin. It's centuries of history, pain, and trauma. The world doesn't see you for who you are, but for who they've been taught to fear. You're black, and the second you step into this world, you're already at a disadvantage. It's like the world looks at you and sees everything except you. They see history, they see struggle, they see violence, they see poverty, but they don't see your humanity. You grow up fast.
Right there is facts, man, because for some reason, even still to this day in 2025, you love to raise your kid without making him feel as if, like, when you go out there in the world, or when you as a child you grow up, your parents are already prepping you for the things that you're gonna have to experience. And even if as a child, a young child, you're gonna be experiencing, you're gonna watch your kid experiencing things, even though the kid might not understand these things. You're gonna have to let your kid gonna have to see the disparities in terms of, like, a race is just against you, right? And as a black person, not saying that there's not changes are being made and things are now becoming a little bit more, um, I want to say better, because it's damn sure not equal or balanced, but a little better. It's still a lot of disparities, a lot of bias, and double standard situations. Not even double standard, but a lot of unfairly one-sided situations where one group of people is being chastised and denounced versus the other side, right? Um, it's sad that as a kid, you have to experience these things. Like, I've seen young kids experience these racial behaviors or these biased behaviors where one is just more powerful than the other, one is less meaningful than the other. And we're not talking about bullying. We're not talking about people who just have money, because black people have money too. They got wealthy black people, they got wealthy white people, they got wealthy Asian people. We're not talking about those type of disparities. We're talking about where one race of people is challenged by every other race of people, right? And it's like their skin tone is like, it's almost the target for everybody. It's like, how should I say? Let me give you a better description. The specific skin tone of person, like a dark melanin skin person, right, is almost, let's say it's the unicorn of the world. I'm gonna use the word unicorn. Yes, it's the unicorn of the world. It's the one of the kind, right? And everybody want a piece of it. Everybody want to taste that rainbow. Everybody want to find a pot of gold, right? Which is unfair, because these melanin people are just humans like everybody else. They are the same like everybody else. They have the same development like everybody else, right? We all might have some advantages in tone, or you know biological abilities, We have some advantages on either side, but the bottom line is we're still humankind. A humankind, we all humans, right? And why can't we just live amongst each other without saying, because of how I look, meaning my skin tone, I'm less than everybody else. I'm less than this group of people. But yet, these same people still take advantage of the things that I do, that I create, that by my footsteps, my motivation, my strength, my looks, my fears, my aura, my everything is almost as if it's a threat. So they have to take me out. They have to constantly keep me in a slave mind type of way, or in a fear tactic type of way, right? So what he just said right there is very important, and it's such a true fact that from the time you're a baby come out the womb, you don't know it, but the world is waiting for you. They already got the how should I say, the ropes around you. Okay, so he's very accurate on that. But like I said, I would love to see a day where black, white, Asian, everybody, right, can leave their house, have babies or whatever the case is, without having a skin tone conversation. I would love to see that day. It'll be more like, remember, we all humans, and like I said, I'm a naturalistic type of guy. So in nature, we are all humankind, which means we can blend and mix in with each other. We don't have to we don't have to judge or categorize ourselves by skin tone. We categorize ourselves by tribe, right? And how we raise and how we carry ourselves as moral people. That's how we're supposed to. That's the way we're supposed to categorize ourselves. But let's keep going.
Not because you're ready, but because life forces you to be. By the time you're 6, someone's already called you aggressive for raising your hand in class. You're just trying to be heard, to be seen. But to them, your very presence is a threat. You're 10, and teachers are already labeling you a handful when you're just bored, just trying to survive the monotony. Meanwhile, the white kid across the room throws a tantrum, and he's energetic. He's a free spirit. But you're problematic. You learn quickly that you can't afford to be average. You can't afford to be anything less than exceptional, because that's the only way people will treat you like a human being. And so, you push yourself harder. You run faster. Speak clearer.
Yeah, right there too. That's very true, man. You see that happens all across the board. Now you don't when you're in a predominant black territory, you don't see these type of behaviors. You don't have these type of pressure. Where you look at, like I said, the skin tone is like one is better than the other. You don't have to go with that. What you will deal with is more on a natural state of frame is competition, right? Racial behaviors is not a competition. It's just a direct. It's a direct tell you who you are. It's not a competition. When you're in a predominant black location or predominant dark melanin people location, you don't get the sense of, because of how he looks, I'm the problem. You get more of a sense of, well, maybe he do better than I do, or maybe he's just like a favoritism, type of character. Maybe he might be related, or whatever the case is. If I put my hand up and he put his hand up, we both gonna get the same response, right? It's not gonna be because I'm black and he white. It's gonna be more of like, both of y'all sit down, both of y'all energetic, boom, 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 or it would be, well, one, did y'all finish your schoolwork? You know what I'm saying? It would be more of a balanced response or conversation. But in a true story, when you go to these in America specifically, you get these type of responses. Even if you go to England, Asian country, because there's a stereotype. They have these stereotypes where Asians are the smartest, um, whites and blacks seems to be the dumbest, or whatever the case is, or mainly people with dumbest. So that means like whenever black people go to school or mainly people go to school, there's always some quick judgment to assume that these kids are just they don't know nothing and they're just gonna be a problem. When kids gonna be kids, kids is gonna be kids. You know what I'm saying? And you're renting like the behavior based on what he just described. The behavior is to implement in that black kid head that you have to superiorize the kid next to you. That's what that is. That's a brainwashing mentality to already synchronize to that young boy, right? That if your skin tone don't look like this, he's superior to you. You can't do what he do. You have to lower yourself to him subdue it. You have to lower your ability to this guy because if you don't look like him, you can't do what he do. You can't jump up in the classroom. You can't. You don't get the ability to get to be a little bit hyper or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to submit, right? So all this is a doctrine. This is a doctrine. This is a training mechanism for brainwashing. You know what I mean? How to act as a good slave, right? How to act as a good respect your superiority. So it's a training mechanism from a young age for black people to be submitted towards white people. That's what that is. It's a it starts from a very young age. And is it right? No, it's not right. Like I said, and if we go back to the nature's point of view, nature doesn't see color, right? Nature just look at it as different human kinds, and together we can have advantages, and together we can get certain things done. That's what nature view it. Nature don't say because you're white you have superiority. Nature don't say because you're black you have superiority. What nature says is together we have advantages, and we can put those advantages together and make it work. Called yin and the yang. Okay, let's keep it going.
Smile wider, because anything less, and they'll start using words like threatening, ghetto, or intimidating, like they're words that define you. And the moment you make one mistake, congratulations. You've just confirmed every stereotype they've ever had.
I know on this part there's some there's some disappointments there because yeah when African Americans or let me just say melanin people get out of hand, there's always there's like I told you so, right? Now the told you so came from them going to Africa and basically undermining the capabilities that we have, which they can clearly see. But long story short, moving into the slavery, start moving into the electronic slave, the electronic slave trade. Their thing was that melanin people don't have the capability to be moralized, right? We have to be controlled, right? We have to be forced into behaving like humans or behave like white people, right? So what they did was had to slave us, and then now that we so-called free, their response was they can't maintain themselves. They're nothing but like savage people. They don't have the ability and the capability to be sustainable humans amongst the other white people. The truth be told, that's a great lie because they've been practiced and they've been shown that we can do that, and we even had the lowest death rates in our communities during those times. Right now, as time progressed, there's a lot of infiltration into the black communities, black towns, black countries to promote a lot of these negative things, and those things have been progressed over the years. Anyway, long story short, this is 2005. Because nobody, the reason why I'm saying it like that, because you have to have a starting point. Melanin people did not just became the way we are today. We didn't just happen to be the way we are today. We always say things like this is how the melanin people act, this is how black people act. Yeah, but it didn't start like that. It didn't happen like that. It's not like that's who we are, right? It's not like we just wake up and we're gonna be the baddest, worst people you want to be around. No, there was things that implement those behaviors, right? Like I'm gonna give you a small, quick story. I don't remember the guy's name directly, but I'm gonna give you the story. They did an experiment on some rats, and they had a bunch of rats in a big box, and the box have different areas separated, whatever, whatever, and they had there's two groups of rats, right? One had abundance of food, clean, fresh water every time, boom, boom, bam. Those rats seems to flourish and they live pretty well, okay? Now they had another section of rats where they had less food, not good, really good water, poor living. They wasn't maintaining the sanitary, the area, whatever the case is. As the rats population grow, they become more violent because of course there's less food, there's less sanitary situation, there's less water. They probably have more bacteria and whatever's going on. Eventually what happened is the rats that was in the most unconditional living area with less food become violent and they start fighting each other for whatever they could fight for, versus the ones that was getting the good treatment, right? The good food, water, clean, everything. They live perfectly. They had scuffles, yes, but it was minimal compared to the box that had the rats that had very little to nothing to survive on. So the more population the rats become, the more the population became, tragic, right, and violent. Guess what happened? That same experiment was tried and was played out towards human beings. Now, the way how human beings work, we like I said, this is nature. We talking about nature now. We are nothing but a naturalistic part of human behavior, right? Just like the earth, right? So what you did to the rats is the same thing you did to the humans. Don't you think is the same results? So black people or melanin people or whatever you want to call them, in there was more separate. Once the segregation system was more spread out. So what happened is that they tend to migrate a lot of black people to these rural, like clustered areas, because they was more spread out, right? And start making it difficult for them to survive, meaning that they hardly any jobs, they had any homes, they had children, all these different things, medical schools, all of these different things. What happened is, people, and then they put drugs in the community, all of these good things. So what you think gonna happen? Crime is gonna happen, right? Just the same example with the rats. It's the same thing they did to white people, now to black people. Now, when you see, if you look on the outskirts of it, now, of course, some white people was affected by it, but was it the mass? No. Of course, they're gonna have some stragglers, some sacrifices. But guess what? The majority of white people didn't have that situation, right? Because the lazy ones, right, or the ones that get caught up in drugs, are the ones that came down to the black territory or came down to the black, convenience of living. The white people who was getting the better and the more satisfactory of life, which means they had the bigger cheese, the water was fresh, they had more better environment to live in. Guess what? They was doing good. They don't have to go through the crime rate that black people was going through because our jobs was taken away, or the jobs that we was doing for ourselves was taken away, right? And they're not gonna talk about that too, right? Where black people had to construct, because for black people to build a community, they have to have skills, right? You're gonna destroy the black community, so those black people or those melanin people who had the skills to build the houses, guess what they're gonna have to do? Now move into neighborhood houses where white people live, and they're now gonna have to look for jobs, right? The jobs they're gonna have to look for is guess what? It's gonna be morely to fix white people business. Would white people want to hire them and play a black person big money to build a house for them? No. So I'm just using this as an example. So what happened is now these black construction workers gonna have to find jobs elsewhere. So you went from being a construction builder, right, a carpenter, right, to now selling drugs or working in a warehouse somewhere, hopefully that you could get some kind of construction job going. Did it affect all you now have to dumb down your skill or your ability of being a boss to working for the white man or to for working for a white guy now who's now took over the construction business, and you now have to get paid under him when you was the one being the boss and paying everybody else. So that's how that happened. When he talking about you have to know, you know, be better, be greater, be stronger. You have to. Those things come from an effect of a constant. You can't be better than me. You can't do this. You can't do that. So you have to kind of creep and crawl and tiptoe around what white people do to survive. And that's what he means by when he said, you have as a young kid, as young kids, or black people in general, have to do better, be stronger, because they took all of that ability and independency away. Now, presently, today, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Nothing have changed. You know what I'm saying? Nothing have changed.
About you. A single slip up becomes a public spectacle, proof that black people are inherently flawed in their eyes. You try to blend in, but the truth is, you can't. You can't even exist without being reduced to something less than yourself. You walk into a store, and the way people look at you, the way they clutch their purses or follow you down the aisle, makes it clear. To them, you're a potential criminal just waiting to happen. To them, your skin is enough evidence. You can say something smart, something articulate, and people will look at you like you just solved world hunger. Wow, you're articulate, they say, as if speaking.
See, right there is so true too. It's almost like when we do something, it's such an amazing, like, because I've also heard this experience where this one guy was telling me that he had to do some reports or something, and this is with amongst Asian people, and he had to read some reports and make his own little commentary to the reports or whatever, notes towards the reports. And then when he started breaking down the reports, the Asian guys were so surprised that they was like, "Damn, you could read that, politics." Like really, like for real, this is 2025. Like, why wouldn't I know? I now know how to read. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it don't happen, but the majority of people can read and write today. Whether we have some levels of it, but the majority of us can do the basics, right? The majority, right? So that was a little that's another disappointing um, view of how we are black melanin people are viewed today. It's almost everything we do is entertaining or surprising, like sports and all these things. Like that's all we down for. Like we do something outside of that, it's like wow, what is you doing? How you do that? You know what I'm saying? Y'all got that's amazing. Like no, why is it does it have to be such something so overly the top, right? It doesn't have to be, because when I see white people do things, I don't be like, wow, oh my God, it's great. No, I just be like, okay, so you learned something that I never seen or whatever the case is, and I would be more amazed by you working your ass off to learn something and you showing me something I never seen. Because every human have their own certain skills. You know what I'm saying? So, you'll be surprised by that. But when you have a group of people who just look at another group of people as if like they not have the capability to do a lot of educational things or do things that's surprising to the eyes of the other, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's really, I would say it is disrespectful. It's very disrespectful. But We have known black melanated people have known to be very talented and very educational, very spontaneous when it comes to um, creation and autistic behavior. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why they're so surprised about it. That's just the way it was. Going to the comment of when people look at you and stuff. Yeah, that's. I don't listen, man. This is 2025. Like I said, white people know that white people set black people up for the shit that they're doing today. People don't just wake up. People in poverty don't just be nice. You see what I'm saying? People in poverty don't be nice. You see what I'm saying? So when people live in poverty, they have a desperate need for things. So when people act out, or the crime rate or whatever the case is, even though they highlight it more than others, which I think is unfair, is you not supposed to expect them to act a certain way? Like, is you supposed to be surprised that they do crime, and then chastise them about the crime that they do when you are the one who control these things? You're the one. Listen, if them, I'm gonna say this: if white people want to see black people in America on the eastern side do better, step up and make laws or preventions for any white person to bring some kind of wall or distraction to the black people development. That includes jobs. That includes jobs. Let black people get the open door to a lot of jobs that white people have morally get hired into. Like if you if you look across the U.S., right, majority of the high paying jobs is white people. No, you know what they're gonna say? Oh, they got the most education. Da, 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 da. So you trying to say to me that even though black people have a more higher education than white people do, because that's a fact, that go to school, go to college, all of that good stuff, have better, they're not qualified for the jobs that white people do? Why is it that the office says it's supposed to be 50 people in here? 50 people. But 45 of them is white? That don't make no sense. You should at least have 20 black people in there. At least 20. Not even whole 25, because you're 50. I'm not even going to half. You should have at least 20 black people working at that company. At least 20. But if you look across the work environment, if the location is predominantly white, I get it. I get it. But if the place is predominantly black or predominantly melanin locations, or the company is a labor task type of job, some kind of grievous type of job, it's predominantly black. It's like we only get the dirty jobs. When you look at what you call them people, like who work on the roads and stuff, it's predominantly white. Whenever I see these dudes outside working on the road and I look at all the workers, I might see two black dudes. Out of probably like 15 workers, only two of them black. That's crazy. That's crazy. So you telling me, right, in a black country, in a country where it's predominantly dark-skinned people, right, or melanated people, right, they can do the same thing that you do here in America, that you do here in a white territory, right, in a white country. But then when you go to a white country, a white territory, or mixed race territory, the black people get less work than the black people in the country that works and do the same thing. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. All right, let's keep going.
Well, is some sort of remarkable thing for someone who looks like you. But you're not looking for praise. You're just asking for basic respect. The kind of respect you don't have to earn over and over again. And then there are the streets. Every time you step outside, you're aware. The world is watching. And the police. They don't protect you. They patrol you. A siren doesn't signal safety. It signals fear. When they pull you over, your heart doesn't rise. It explodes in your chest. You know what comes next. The cold, invisible weight of suspicion, of being presumed guilty until proven innocent. You've learned to keep your hands visible, to speak calmly, to keep your movements slow and deliberate, like you're auditioning for the role of the harmless black man woman in a world that's already written your obituary before you've even had a chance to speak. You don't want to make a wrong move because you know that in the blink of an eye, your life could be reduced to a headline, a mugshot, a hashtag. And still, you pray that today won't be the day they decide your life is expendable. Black culture is loved, but only when it's removed from the...
Yeah, well, right there too is very important, man. That's an important section right there. I'm not saying all black people are afraid of the police or anything like that, and we shouldn't be afraid of the police. But at the same time, the police should be able to. We should be able to depend on the police to protect us or to protect everybody that's in this country because we pay taxes towards them like every other white, like everybody else does. Now, as we know, the clubbers was made to protect white people in the first place. Now they changed the name over to being to know to be called the police, and I pretty much think that the police know the background of their whole agenda. I mean, well, let's say the development or creation. But yes, they had eventually over time they are changing to becoming the police of a community service. Now, what I want to say is, as we were speaking earlier, and as I was saying, you know, the constant pounding and pressure towards a black person is triple double down more once the police come into play because it don't never really generally go well, and if it does go well, whenever a black person get pulled over the police, you gotta put across your finger and just hope that it goes well because you don't know. And that's the sad part about it. Anytime a black person get pulled over the police, you always have to anticipate: is it gonna go well or is it not gonna go well? Even though you have rights to not follow certain rules or to follow certain rules, you now have to break those rules because you don't want to aggravate or piss the cop off for him to respond or act and behave a certain way where you now being demeaned or chastised as a black person, right? Especially as a man. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying white people don't get pulled over, but I'm just saying the reason why black people feel this way is because it's happened to us more frequently, and it's been something that we've been pressured with over time from period times to present times, right? Pre 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 yeah, from older days to newer days, right? So it's something that we've been dealing with for a very very long time now. But now we're gonna push the whole idea where black people have got crime, blah 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 blah. We already know black communities got crime, and we know how the crimes came about. What I just want to say this one thing for black people who are on always side and say, well, black people need to fix their crime. Yes, they do. They need to fix it. But what I'm going to say is this: you have to have some mercy on those people because those people came from the tyranny and the destruction for black people to be where they are. We didn't create our environment. We didn't create our own bad environment. Our environment was forced upon us to live, forced to be created. We didn't create this. We didn't just wake up in the morning. Our ancestors didn't wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm gonna destroy my black community so it can be terrorized amongst themselves. They didn't do that. It happened by stipulations that was provided by you know whoever is in charge. And the problem with that is that even though these things wasn't put in place that to keep black people down, you know what I'm saying? As white people say, we don't see color and all this rah rah shit. Guess what? They didn't do nothing to stop it. They didn't say, you know what? we're not going to support this type of behavior because these people already went through this whole slavery mentality thing, and now that they're trying to blend it, we're talking about equality. These people have to have the same opportunities as we do. We need to have jobs, they need to have jobs. They have families, we have families. You know what I'm saying? They never stepped up and speak or support that type of behavior. So why would black people feel like there's some kind of equality out here when it's not? So yes, when the cops pull us over and the fact that cops, like I said, they're the clubbers from back in the day, and we have that history to show that this is what they've been doing. And even the white people might do harm or bad things versus the people electing, the white people get more layoff than the black people do. As a matter of fact, the black people come home, they don't come home. They get shot, right? So a lot of times we have to be very careful and very protective of how we move when it comes to the cops. So that's a true thing. And it's a fear mechanism. At the end of the day, this is just a fear mechanism for black people to keep them in check, to keep them in this specific mindset where they have to keep control of them. And that's all that is. But once black people start realizing that this is what it is, it's all a plan, hopefully we'll wake up. I would love people to watch this video. Yes, in 2025, people are gonna say, "Oh, this is not what it is." No, it is what it is. This is exactly what it is. Cause we see it every day. Your kids go to school in it every day. You live it, you experience it, you smell it, you breathe it. Because you make a little money and you roam around the city and you smash white girls and white girls smash black girls and da 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 da. It's the relationship status is changing, but the behavior is still the same. Because white people still get the better job, they still the better level air, they still get the better locations, they still get less chastising for certain situations, all of that good stuff. And we're still promoting the negativity on the black families and the negativity on the biasness of black and white behaviors or support or benefits and all those good things. So whether we want to talk about it or not, and I don't want nobody to pressure me about this because I already know they're gonna a lot of be even though the truth is there, even though you can see it for yourself, you're gonna still mention some bias, but I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we see the same thing. But besides that, I will still say it's getting better slowly and surely. Hopefully in the future it'll get a lot more better. But for now, we getting there. We getting there. I'm not gonna do the whole video either. I'm just trying to go through a couple points because it's my, I'll kind of run through it a little bit, but it's my, I just want to kind of like touch it up a little bit.
People who created it. They want your music, your slang, your fashion, your dance moves. They want to take your entire identity, strip it of context, and sell it back to you as something cool.
Yeah, whoever did this video, man, that's so on point. Like everything he's saying so far, I cannot disagree. Cause like okay, for example, I've come across some black creators, inventors that have done some things, minuscule things, and the only person who provided these things was a black person, right? All of a sudden, I seen white people now doing the same thing, promoting the same thing, saying that they're the one who created it. Like how? So, what? Somebody's lying. But I know it's a black person kicker. They've been doing it way before, and white people don't really. White people are not on holistic shit like that. They're not. That's not their thing. You know what I'm saying? So I do see this a lot where a black person might come with a certain clothing line or some kind of design or something like that, and next minute a white person is mimicking the thing and trying to make money off of it. Or the Asians. Asians do it too. So this is what he just said just right there is a true fact. They
They'll
do get a
sell it
lot
in
of
urban outfits,
white people do black people's style and skills and inventions get mimicated a lot.
turn it into a trend, and pretend it's something they discovered. But the moment you speak up about racism, suddenly you're too political, too loud, too angry. They don't want to hear your experience because it makes them uncomfortable. Why does everything have to be about?
And that's what I did make a comment towards that not too long ago, where I was saying like I don't even want to hear it from anybody because, and some black people is like they're ignorant to what they see, hear, and smell and believe. We see these things every day. We experience these things every day. You know, we see it on TV. We walk down the street. We communicate. We go to work. You know what I'm saying? We look for jobs. You know what I mean? Even the stores that you go to, you're shopping. With the what? You know what I'm saying? Like we experience these things, but we act ignorant. Some people say they don't pay no mind, but the bottom line is still there. The bottom line is there, and yes, we have to learn to block out some of those negative things. Because yes, if you pay attention to it, they're gonna bother you. But the truth is, it's still there, right? So here's point there. But I'm gonna leave it right here. If you guys want to watch the video, go to Africa Unveiled. I'm gonna also leave the link in the chat. I'm gonna post the link so you guys can watch the whole video. It's a really good video, man. I like how he break this down. Peace.